7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Be caught up on no bullshit. I don't got the time. Don't care who you with or what you're doing. I'm doing it right. Self-care, self-love,
All right. Hello, Miss LA.
Hello, dear Ivana. I tell you, it's so good to see you. Missed you on the last broadcast.
Ooh, oh my goodness.
Yes, but you were handling your business.
Okay, y'all. I will get into that in a second.
Yes.
Hello,
yes.
everyone. Today is Wednesday,
This is Royal Ladies
April
of Truth.
28th,
Yes.
2021.
Mm.
And my name is Ivana, and this is Miss LA. And we
Yes.
are
Royal Ladies of Truth. Yes.
We provide a national and international forum and a safe zone to talk about various life topics and challenges
Yes.
infused with hope, joy, grace, and love.
Yes.
We are a brand and organization that focuses on aspiring and inspiring all of us to live in our possible,
Yes.
thereby coining the phrase,
Living my possible. Yes.
Not only we are an organization, but we are also mother and daughter.
Ah, yes.
That means we will definitely always have a variety of perspectives on each topic of the day.
Yes.
Now, let's get into it.
Oh my goodness. Well, how was
Today-
your week
Oh my goodness.
thus far?
All right, y'all. So, I've been doing this training, got this promotion, going into management. So I've been an octopus. So life is cool. Life is busy.
Yes.
But it's very
You're blessed.
it's cool. It's cool.
You're blessed.
I'm blessed.
Yes.
You telling me?
I'm asking. I'm saying you're
answering your
blessed.
question. Life is very hectic but very exciting because every day is full of something new. And I love learning and I love new things. So, it's just all a part of adulting. Adulting, we should have took a class called Adulting in high school.
But you know what? Remember
'Cause
what
it's
we say in the
different.
Royal Ladies of Truth. We can do all things through Christ who strengthens
Yes,
us.
we can.
Yes.
This is true.
Yes.
And I'm sending and blasting that link out to everybody because we live. We are super live. We live.
Yes, and I heard you. I heard the intro, and was talking about self-love, loving ourselves. But we are commanded to love God, love ourselves, and love others.
Yes, we are.
Yes, love others as we love ourselves.
So, yes.
So we need to love ourselves, not to the point of being so
Selfish.
absorbed that that's we're just self-centered, period, as you would say. But no, but a healthy loving of self. We need to do that. We need to take care of
Yay.
ourselves.
Molded Uniquely said, I finally made it. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome. Yes.
Molded Uniquely. All right, so let's do a little recap. So I have been going for a little second. We had a show with Miss LA the other week.
Yes, I held it down.
Thank
I held
you.
it down.
We were talking about soul ties.
Yes.
And just what that means and all the effects, the negative soul ties and the positive soul ties.
We kind of did like a breakdown, a summarization of what we had been speaking of for the last few shows. Yes.
Did you?
Yes, we did.
Who's we? You did?
I did.
Okay, I'm talking about the last show that I was on.
Oh,
Thank you
my.
for your summary.
Oh.
But for those that weren't there for the last show or this, we talked about soul ties and we just basically covered the do's, the don'ts. People told their story about how,
Yes.
they were, young and naive or, learn from their experiences or,
And that was a general theme that it kept coming up. We were too young. We were
Yes.
young. We were young. And so that's a clue to parents. try to hold them back just a little bit longer, just a little bit
No,
longer.
I don't think that means hold them back. Just a fun fact: kids that are sheltered and held back and shielded from the world.
Not saying shelter, not saying held back. No, parents
Okay.
should be protective anyway.
Okay.
What we're saying is, there's a time for everything.
Okay.
And sometimes we believe just because you receive information does not mean that we are mentally capable of properly processing and applying that information, or that we're even at a position age-wise or maturity-wise to handle or deal with that type of information. And so, or certain types of relationships. All right, or intensity of certain types of relationships. So we want to, as much as possible, to remedy young kids, having to deal with adult type issues
How you gonna do that?
out of its time. There's a time.
How are you gonna remedy
there's
that?
a time for everything now.
But how are you gonna?
There's
as a
time
parent,
for everything.
How do you, as a parent, remedy when your kids are gonna go through a grown situation?
Well, like what? Give me an example.
What you're saying right now, like, I know that nobody knows when something's going to happen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're young and you're in the world, you're in the world. Now, your parents can do what they can from home and, like,
That's all
everywhere
we
else.
can do. What we can do is prepare you as much as possible.
Yes.
Now, when you're out there at a certain age, you're making your own decisions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're independent in that regard, in that we're not with you, we're not handcuffed to you, and nor do we choose or want to be handcuffed to you. Let's just make that clear.
Okay.
Parents, we love it when our children thrive. We love it when our children strive and meet their potential. Right, we love it when they begin to gain that independence. Right, what we call that weaning process. So we love that, but everything in its time. I'm just saying you don't need to rush it, because from all that we've heard in hindsight, rushing and being in and causing yourselves to be in adult type relationships. Being in adult type relationships because of choices that are made, and
Sex.
that you being in adult type relationships.
Hey, I mean, that's what it is.
That
That
it's
makes
not
it
always
adult.
it's not always that. It's
Okay.
not always that. And so, as I said, I guess I've said this for the fifth time. Being an adult, and I'll say it again. You want to limit you being in a adult type of relationships until it's time, because sometimes you're just too young to handle and process the repercussions of those relationships, and that's the bottom line.
I would definitely just say
That's from a Miss LA perspective.
from an Ivana V perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say just prepare your children and inform them and be as honest and transparent as
Yes,
possible.
be honest
Because
and
I think
transparent as
the
possible.
biggest issue is that a lot of parents think, oh, they're too young to talk about this. Oh, they're too
No.
young to know this. Oh, they shouldn't be having this conversation at this age anyway, so I'm not going to talk about it with them. But little do they know, when they walk out the door, the world is throwing whatever at
Well,
them.
yes, that's
And
what we're saying.
A
The
lot of
world is
times
so-
it's like, what is this?
Yes, the world
and
is
you're learning
Yes,
those
yes.
experiences from people outside of your home
Okay.
that aren't the best teachers, and
All
that's how
right.
you're getting in those situations
That's
because
right.
you weren't prepared.
That's right.
Because parents weren't ready to have those conversations.
Well, one thing about that is you're very true. I'm not disagreeing with what you said, but I'm saying as well, that there was some active things happening on elementary school buses. Kids are exposed to so much more information than they used to be exposed
Oh,
to.
hey, Soleil. It's Soleil. It's my cousin Soleil. Hey, Soleil.
Hello, my
Thanks for
darling.
tuning
Hello.
in, cuz.
Yes.
We appreciate you.
Yes, we
Yay.
love you. And so, but still, just because you're exposed to the information does not mean you're able to properly process it. So I do agree that parents do need to actually sit down and speak to the children, and not just necessarily across the table, but when you're in the park, when you're riding in the vehicle. I remember us riding in the vehicle, you as well as your two brothers, and we would be speaking about these topics and things that were happening in the news. and about relationships, young ladies and men in relationships. And it would get to the point you all would get embarrassed. All right, Mom, that's too much. That's too much. We got it. We got it. We got it. But even when the children say they have it,
Not children.
parents,
I think like 12.
Okay.
13 is a good age to be like, all right, you're going through puberty
12
now.
and 13, you're still a child.
Yeah, but the world doesn't see you as a child.
But
To
I'm
you,
saying that
you're the
you,
child.
and see, the thing about it though, Ivana, you're thinking 12 and 13, but remember, and see, I want to open your mind up too. You're thinking still 12 and 13. Some kids are going through and experimenting and going through some things even at age 7 and 8 and 6 and 5 years old.
Yes.
All right. And so we have to be aware of that and we need to address it. But what I'm saying is, even though they're exposed to the information, right? As parents, we need to be protective of our kids and maybe delay that time frame where you say, all right, you can, it's dating time now. Okay, you can go on your official first date or whatever. Or we need to redefine.
Did you say delay the time they're going to start dating?
Or, that's exactly what I said. Or we may, or everything is not just one sided.
I'm listening.
Or we may want to, I can tell you've been away, boy, you came back fired up. Or we may want to,
Hey, Scoop Taylor. He said, hello, y'all. Hey.
hello. Or
That's
we
my
may
boy.
want to define what dating is. Because sometimes when young folks say, well, I'm dating, or we're dating now, they automatically think, oh, that means, okay, I'm supposed to be, let's say, get romantically involved, right? Or we should be doing this, or we should be doing that, or no. So maybe define what those different stages are of a healthy relationship.
Yes.
That's what I'm saying.
Tell your
And not
kids.
just depend on watching a film or having your kids watch a film in school, or doing or watching other types of programming or reading certain types of books. But parents should introduce whatever they believe are healthy books or whatever, or healthy means of providing information to their children. And I guess what I'm saying again is that parents should be that lead person. Parents should be the lead for that type of information for their children and shape it. And I also believe that we have to keep God all up in the conversation so that we can do it God's way. Because when you do it God's way, you know, you strive to do it His way. You may not always get it correct. You may not always do just exactly what you're supposed to do, but at least you're aware and you have a solid foundation and you have some solid information. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, yeah, just being transparent with your kids and having those conversations early are definitely important.
Yes.
I definitely think that you have to reiterate things. You have to be the voice in your kid's head. And, you know, sometimes it's just the one concept that keeps kids from doing crazy things. For me, it was like, I don't want no kids, and I'm not trying to be pregnant, and I don't want my parents to ship me off to Africa to live and raise my child. So I'm going to just chill out and just be over here and mind my business. But, you know, and my dad had other things he said to my brothers to make them kind of, you know, live their life the right way. So it's like just being consistent. But I do believe,
but
especially now in this time, parents cannot be afraid to have those conversations with
well,
their
definitely
kids.
can't be afraid. Parents need to
day.
be bold, and if you can't, then you know, maybe consult someone else to help you work through that. Because I believe we do our children a disservice when we're not upfront with them and we leave them to just kind of figure it out.
You leave someone else to teach them the wrong way.
Or
yep.
you leave them to try to figure it out on their own.
Right.
Right. And your brother was actually saying something about, oh, you know, we had to learn. No. And I said, I need to get back with him and remind him of those car conversations
learn
and
what?
those around the table conversations
said we
about
had to learn
things.
what?
We'll get into.
You gonna talk about it. Okay, so school, Taylor said, I don't have any kids, but my brother lives with me. He's 17. I have this conversation with him all the time. We had it this morning. It was like 6:30 a.m. Because you just gotta reiterate, hey.
You have to just keep, you
like,
just have to be
man.
like a broken record and be in their head.
Yes.
And they may get tired of it. They may act like they're not listening. But just like, let me make this analogy. If you have a child that's like 2 years old, 2.5, 3, 4, 5 years old, they may behave, they can be in the room, they could be on the other side of the room, right? And you're with your friends and you're having a conversation and you're doing different things. You may be in the kitchen putting a meal together, you're talking about your relationships and different things. That child may act like they're not listening, right? But they're hearing everything that's going on and they're absorbing it, right?
Yes.
And so
ear hustling for sure.
what did you call it? Ear hustling?
Yes.
Oh, my
You're just
goodness.
like, you know what? I
Hey.
don't mind my business, but I'm gonna mind my business, but listen to everything you're saying, so I'm still in the loop. But you're not gonna know I know everything, but I'm definitely listening. Kids hear everything,
But
and that's
that's-
another thing. There's learned behaviors. We talk about this all the time, and that goes into our topic of the day. A lot of kids is not. People say, "Oh, do as I say, not as I do." 90% of the time, the kids gonna do what they see.
But I want to make something clear too, though, Ivana. You talked about, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that because, I didn't want to get shifted away and these things. And you had deterrence. Your parents put deterrence in place. However, we want to make clear that this is a place of love, grace, and mercy.
Okay.
Yes. And in that, we don't always make the right decisions. And some of us made wrong decisions. We just didn't get caught. Right?
Say that
and we
again
didn't
for the
have,
people
and
in
we
the
did,
back.
and we didn't have outward circumstances, right? However, consequences, or consequences that could be seen, or consequences that others may be aware of, but we know and God knows, right?
Let the record show my headphones will not fit over my hat, so I have to hold them.
Oh my. Okay, let the record show.
Yeah. Keep going. I'm sorry.
I'm at the age now. You
don't
can't
want
do
nobody
that.
being
You can't
like-
do that. Let me see if I can get my train of thought
First
back.
of all, not distracted.
But-
Sorry. But I'm just playing. I don't want nobody asking, why are you holding your headphones under your neck? That's why. For fashion. It's okay. But no, I definitely agree with what you're saying. We're not even on topic. It's so funny how we got here.
I said you were pressing in. You came hot and ready today, ready to
Because
talk
parents
it
always
out.
say, oh, you have
Ready
to
to
shield
talk it
people.
out.
You have to protect your kids from the
Well,
world.
we're not protecting them from the world. Now, no. What you're doing is you're being a parent, and parents are protective. And if people say, oh, you're being overprotective, no. We're protective, and that's part of what we do, right? But what we also are to do is to give you tools, give our children tools to be able to adjust, to be able to be resilient, right? And not allow them to know that you got a fantasy world on television and theater, but these are certain elements and things
Real
that we will
life.
find in the real world.
But let
And
me-
then teach, and then give the kids coping skills.
Yes, 'cause
right?
coping's important.
Give our children coping skills to be able to handle disappointments, to be able to handle when we have tragedies happen in life and things like that. And like you said, and then they also watch us by example to see how we're handling as well.
I mean, yeah, because I definitely don't believe that delaying the dating process is good for kids. I really think it's important for kids to learn how to date. And like, I think it's cool for parents to, monitor the kids and just be, okay, this is the person you like. This is how you treat them. This is how you're supposed to act.
Chaperone.
Rather than trying to figure out how to have a boyfriend or girlfriend on their own in school just
Right.
by stuff they see. So it's like, I don't think that delaying the dating process does anything for kids. I think it
Well,
makes
like I
them,
said, we need to
one,
define what
be
dating
sneaky,
is.
two, go do whatever they're gonna do, but try to figure it out on their own.
All
more
right.
more likely.
All right, but the thing is, like I say again, we need to define what the dating is, right? We need to define the rules of dating. What is expected? When you say you're gonna go to when a little 5-year-old say, I got a girlfriend, what does that mean? Right? When a little
there's a girl you
5-year-old
like-
say, I got a boyfriend, what does that mean?
Oh, my godson
Right?
said that. I said, oh, you have a girl that's your friend that you like in class. Okay, so how do you treat her?
Because
What do you
what I'm
do?
telling you is some of these little kids going to elementary school on the bus are handling and doing things they should not be doing that are adult oriented. And they're doing it because they believe that's what I'm supposed to do with my girlfriend.
Or they've seen it and it's a learned behavior.
Okay,
And
either
parents
way-
and adults need to watch how they act in front of their kids because they see and do everything they
But
learn.
then also
and see.
children should be, children know that you are not an adult. You don't do things that you cannot do everything that you see an adult do, right?
No, you cannot.
But that's again, we need to define what does it mean to date? There are different stages of life. When you're dating at 5,
Hold on.
you're dating at 12,
What does it mean
you're
to date?
dating at 15, you're dating at 18, you're dating at 25. These are whole different
There are
spectrums.
different brackets. And you guys can go back and watch episodes 1 through 4. We talk about what is love, relationships, and dating. Situationships, love, relationships, dating. If you're watching via Instagram Live, please click the link in the bio. We are on Seven Springs Studio
And we're gonna have
Live.
to replay this so I can remember
Ladies
what
of
I
Truth.
I can remember what I
So
forgot.
click the link so you
to
guys can
say.
tune into the live YouTube. I'm out. Hey, Dope Stylist. Hey, Fanny Pack Nation. Tune in. And let's go into our announcements and shout outs because we didn't even get to do that. We just jumped right in.
Wow.
I'm going to just say this.
Mm.
Andrine, go to YouTube Live because I'm about to get off this Instagram. I just wanted to shout out that we're live right now. You guys go click the link in the bio.
All right.
Seven Spring Studios YouTube Live.
Yes,
okay? And
yes.
I'm out.
Well, that was a lively conversation. Oh, my.
But, all right. Hi, guys. We're Royal Ladies Truth. That was a whole side note, but it's really important to talk about things like that because
Yes.
everybody has different parenting styles, and I really think it's important to know that, one, there's not one way to do it, but there's definitely like a bracket, a foundational way to, kind of ensure that your kids are going to go the right direction.
Well,
I
what
think you
you
guys
do
did a
is-
good job.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. But we just need to do the best that we can, and we can only do what we can. I know what I was going to say. Thank you, Lord. What I was going to say is in that we operate in love, grace, and mercy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that none of us got it right or all right, right?
Okay.
And we do the best that we can. We need to realize that even when we make errors, we can be forgiven. Even when we make errors in our choices, or sometimes we do exactly what we want to do, right? It wasn't an error. We knew what we were doing. We did it, and there you go, right? And it
Yeah.
takes us off our path that God would have for us.
It's
right?
cool, Taylor.
Because you have plans, right?
Yes.
And then you have the plans that God would have for you. And we hope and pray that God's plan for your life is the one that prevails. Okay?
Right, because
And
sometimes you be taking yourself off your own plan.
Exactly. There's nobody in it. There's no enemy or anything. These are just choices that we're choosing to make because it feels good, because we want to do it. Or we sometimes, it's like I want to do whatever I think I'm grown enough to do. That's what I'm going to do. And then, prayerfully at some point you realize, okay, that's not getting me anywhere. This is being counterproductive. And the only person I'm really injuring is myself.
Okay.
And then we're talking about self-love. That's not self-love, right? And that's not valuing yourself the way we need to value ourselves.
Okay.
All right. But however, when we do make errors or something happens as a result or whatever the case may be, it's not the end of the world. It is a switch, a change maybe of how we get to a particular destination. But the destination is still there, and you still have the ability and you still have the capability of living your possible.
Okay, you better fit it in there. Live your possible.
Yes.
Because there's no right or wrong. Well, there's definitely a wrong way, but there's no like one way to get where you're trying to get.
But what we're saying
And-
is sometimes when we're living through consequences, sometimes people end up going to jail. Sometimes people end up, they're not just, pregnant, they get pregnant, or maybe they lose a child, or maybe they have heavy loss in their life. And maybe they don't have the coping skills to deal with that. And
but that's not the end of your story.
Exactly, and they get into other things that are counterproductive,
Right.
that may injure them, right? Or maybe we have a child, or maybe we have multiple children, and like they say, multiple fathers, or whatever the situation
Baby
may
daddies,
be.
baby mamas.
But then
There's a
we
lot of
know
baby
that
mamas.
whatever situation we find ourselves in, right? Whatever the situation is, because there are a whole lot, there's a full gamut of things. You have people out there that are habitual liars. We have
Habitual.
people out there that steal. We have people out there that just cannot mind their own business, and they just are toxic,
Toxic.
right? and they're just about pulling other people down. So there are all kind of things. Runs the gamut of things and
Pause.
character traits.
Okay.
That
Yes.
are negative and counterproductive and that are toxic.
Okay. So that point being,
I just had to rise up to where you are because you missed one program and you came in here hot and ready to move forward.
I just know that parents always have a different perspective of the child's perspective of things, and coming from me not too far from being young, I know what I would have done differently and
Right.
what I wouldn't have, and certain things I would have liked or not liked. Like, you know what I'm saying?
just keep improving.
Everyone dated before they're 16. Everybody had a little boyfriend, girlfriend. It's just about whether you feel open enough to talk about it with your parents or
Well,
not.
then you could chaperone. You know,
Exactly.
there's nothing wrong with
Oh,
that.
and Scoop Taylor said how to have and how to be a girlfriend, boyfriend. They need to be taught the stages of dating. Just like you
That's
said
what-
back in the day when y'all were dating, you had the person come over, but it was chaperoned. People were there, and men were taught how to act. Women were taught how to act.
Well, the
So
thing-
they dated properly, and it wasn't like, oh my gosh, they're just trying to figure it out by themselves.
And
It was
then-
literally like, okay, these are the stages of dating. This is what we're doing, and this is what we've been
And
taught.
then sometimes you didn't do the right thing, but that was not because you didn't know. That was because of the choices. And then what we said when you were receiving company and people coming in and you saying, oh, I want you, don't say, oh, I want my privacy. They say privacy for what? What do
Privacy.
you have to say that we
And if
can't?
you guys are tuning in
What do
right
you-
now, please drop your name in the chat. Please feel free to tune in, and we're gonna take calls
they
later
will
on.
say, what do you have to say that we can't hear? What is so important that you have to say that we can't
There's
hear?
a lot of stuff that I have to say that you can't hear.
But
What
not
you
at
mean?
that age. Oh well, I
At what
wouldn't be
age?
saying that. He would have been going on out the door. Oh my
At
goodness.
what age?
But I'm just saying.
No, a lot of people don't feel like saying, I think you're so cute in front of your parent. What? That's so awkward. Like, no, there's a lot of kids do have things they don't feel like sharing in front
That's
of adults.
true.
As
That's
long
true.
as they have one person.
But you know, you
that's
have
not
that
the parent,
opportunity
but
at
that's- Can I,
school.
wait, listen, please.
Go ahead.
As long as they have a person that they're open enough to speak to that's an adult. Somebody calling already, amen?
Oh my.
That's what matters, having people in your life that are, they're in your kid's life and they're responsible and at least they can talk to them.
Okay.
Like, I always have my brothers. So it's like, okay, I can't talk to y'all because that's weird, but at least I can talk to my brothers. At least I can talk to, my friends or my friend's mom or my godmom. Like, there's always somebody in the circle that
And that's
has
important too. You just mentioned an
sense.
important point. Is that as parents, we do have to live and realize we are not islands, right? We are not an island, right? We are a community. Have that village mentality in that don't just, close your kids off sometimes to just have other people that you trust that become prominent in their lives so that if they feel they cannot come to you, that they still have another outlet
somebody,
that's responsible.
auntie, mama, cousin, something.
That's responsible and God-fearing.
Exactly. And Lexi said, I wish I dated more before college. I was very sheltered in high school, and I went into college not knowing how to date. And it's really important because a lot of people are like, oh, you can't date till you go to college. Now I'm in college. I don't know how to date. I never got to practice in high school. You didn't tell me anything about it because you didn't want me to talk about the opposite sex. And now I'm just out here trying to figure it out in the whole world, just out here. And then it's like, okay, now I'm pregnant. Now I got 3 kids. I really didn't even really talk about where babies come from like that. I learned about it in health class, but when the moment came, it wasn't really pressed in my mind. Condom. Only thing that pressed in my mind was don't have sex.
Oh yeah, but
So
you
now
know,
that it's happening.
but we also need to tell our children. I don't know. We just went on a whole nother topic, but we also need to share with our children, like woman to woman, like female to female, male to male, the tricks that happen. Things that can happen, even if you're engaging in certain things, how to protect yourself. All of these things we need to discuss, and we need to bring them out of the closet and bring it out front, and it is important.
I'm trapped in the closet. All right, and Scoop Taylor said it takes a village for sure. You got to have people. And Delaney said, I just hate how adults can act like they were never young ones because sometimes they will literally say things that they did not to do. Okay, you want to speak from experience, of course. Like, oh, okay, don't do this because I did it, but now I know don't do it. So now I got to tell my kid don't do this. But it's like a lot of kids are going to have their own experiences anyway. So just rather than say, oh, I never did it, just be like, yo, I did do this. This is what happened. This is the consequences of these actions. I know from experience, this is why I'm telling you. I
But
think
you
a
know
lot
what?
of kids or teenagers are smart enough, especially now, to realize that sometimes your parents are not being transparent. Sometimes they're leaving information out. Sometimes you really must think I don't know what you were thinking when you were this age. You know what I'm saying?
All
So
right.
be real with me. Tell me what happened to you so I can really understand from a point of view and take it to heart and actually listen to you.
Okay. Well, my response to that is I hear you. However, sometimes you all don't need to know everything. You don't need to know every I that's dotted and every T that's crossed.
We want the tea.
Give
us the tea.
We're going to say the T-T-I-I like in Yoruba, yes, but no. You don't need all of the ins and outs. You don't necessarily need every little ounce of it in order to get the message or the lesson.
You can get
Now-
1 ounce.
you get a little bit tidbit. We're going to share.
A lot of
we
parents
will
give
be share-
0 ounces.
Okay, well, we need to do better. Okay, we need to do better and we need to share better, right? However, some parents, all right, may feel, and these are, we're saying parents, we're not talking about older, younger kids as well that are parents. Sometimes parents believe that if I share, that devalues my authority as a parent. I'm not saying it's correct thinking. I'm saying that that's a way of thinking that may hold some parents back in sharing information. Now, with that being said, we have to, I believe, rise above that, right? That mindset and say, because of what I am aware of now, allow me to use what we would say this golden nugget. I didn't go through it in vain. Allow me to share what I can share with my children in order for them to have better tools than I did, right? Because all of us, every generation, we want our children to do better and be aware, be even more aware than we are. But the challenge is sometimes kids may receive information. There's information all out there. Social media is running the muck, right? Right? However,
Amok.
and you have all of this information out there, and it's not
No censor.
right.
at all.
It's not okay, this is
Filtered.
just for it's not filtered. So they have it all available to them, right? And so they may not be at a level of maturity, nor should they be, to receive and understand and fully process all of this types of information. So we have to be diligent as parents, yes, and know what our children are watching, know the music they listen to, know who their friends are, right? And be aware, right? And have ourselves open enough, even if we don't agree with the topic, not to be afraid of discussing uncomfortable topics with our children.
Yeah, because it's gonna come up anyway. So it could either be you having the conversation
Okay.
or that little kid in the back of the class that's weird and
Are we-
bad and never goes to class and wants his friend to come to the bathroom
gonna
during
shut-
lunch.
Are we going to shut this down?
No, look, the people said everyone learns different, so you must share enough to make sure the kid understands the message or
That's
the lesson.
correct. That's
because
correct. That's correct.
You can't. I mean, I think there was a big
I agree.
message of I am not your friend. I am a grown up. I'm your parent. Back in the day, like back in the 60s, 70s, like a lot of people were raised like, oh, don't talk to me like you're equal. I
That's
just
right.
need, I talk to me out of respect, da da da. And that's cool. But you have to understand at a certain point, your child is going to be an adult. And you have to have those conversations and get to know who this person is. And if they never feel like they can talk to you like a person, they just have to talk to you like a submissive, like, or just like
Okay.
a child, quote unquote, the box of what things a kid can talk about.
Okay,
When
but-
you box up what a kid can talk about, it limits what they're more likely to talk to you about because they already feel like if I talk about this, I'm being disrespectful. If I talk about this, I'm disrespectful. So I can't talk about any of this because
I hear you.
I am in a child's place.
I hear you.
So now I gotta
hear
go
you.
talk to somebody else.
I hear you. However, it's not the topic that puts you say, well, I'm being in a child's face. I can't talk about this topic. I can't no. It's that when I believe that most parents, when they would say, I'm not your friend. I'm your parent, right? Meaning that
I'm not your friend.
No. Meaning that because your parent is one of your best friends. That parent has no, a godly parent, right? Has no motives except they want to see you thrive and strive.
Hold
Right?
on, did somebody call?
Period.
We had somebody call earlier.
Right?
Call back in a second. Sorry, I don't know what happened. Go ahead.
Okay. And so the godly parent wants that relationship, right? But they're saying, I'm not your peer. Meaning you can't, when you're speaking to me, there is a certain level of respect that you speak to me in.
Yes.
Now, that does not, and so we need to somehow bridge that communication in that we're not saying you can't speak to me about any type of topic. Come to us, talk to us, but know that, right? The way that you're communicating, right? You have to communicate in a way that's still respectful. But that does not mean that you cannot talk to me or communicate with me about various topics, even uncomfortable topics.
Yeah, I guess it's just about the I don't want to say vibe, but it's about the precedent that the parent sets as far as what their kids believe their parents will react to in a positive or negative way based off of whatever they've already reacted to.
But you know what? That's why, too, a lot of times, sometimes we need to have these conversations outside of the home. Go to the park, go on a weekend together, and be able to just kick back, relax by the fireplace, go fishing, literally go fishing, and have these sit by the waterfall, right?
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
And have these conversations. The pressure is less. The environment is conducive to having these type of possibly tense conversations that could be uncomfortable. However, it also lends itself to a flow of conversation.
Yeah, because it's it's a common
that can
area,
be productive.
and it's
Right.
there's no pressure because your
Right.
mind's on something else.
That's right.
So that being said, when you do go through all the various roads of life, whether you have someone to talk to or not, when you're grown, when you're young, when you're a kid, it's just important to take care of yourself.
Yes.
Check in with yourself.
Oh, that was a good
Communicate
segue.
with yourself and check on how you're doing. My quote of the day is we communicate for clarity, not to prove a point. Now that goes into what we were talking about earlier with parents and kids or any relationship. You communicate with clarity, not to prove a point. So I'm talking to you. I'm saying this just to say this. I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm not trying to prove a point. And that was just my last point for a lot of parents. A lot of kids feel like it's less clarity, more of this is what it is. Okay?
I hear you.
And when you feel like that communication-wise, you're less likely to want to open up. And so you keep a lot of things to yourself sometimes, or you might not grow up with an open communication attitude that may cause you to be less expressive in other relationships, in dating, in friendships, and whatever, because you never felt like I can open up and talk about everything I'm feeling because I don't want to offend someone else. So that goes into almost like a neglect of yourself and checking in because you're trying to cater to everyone else's feelings because you don't want to offend anybody.
But now we've moved on to an adult stage.
Yes.
Okay, we've
And
moved
that's
into
how
the
being
adult
a
stage
kid
and self-care.
and having those conversations and that foundation of communication can turn you any direction as an adult if you don't really nurture that young.
And so now we're talking about the pulse of self-care. We've gone through several shows regarding toxic relationships, soul ties. We've had individuals that were brave and came on and shared.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Lexi said, you know what show was out of pocket and we probably needed to watch with a parent? Degrassi. Degrassi was a show that y'all know the rapper Drake, he started on that show. He was an actor on that show. And then Scoop Taylor said, I never watched Degrassi, but I heard it was good. I need to find the collection. It is on Netflix. Okay, well, it was on Netflix. I don't know. They might have took it down because it's Degrassi. But Degrassi was actually a good example of, hey, kids be going through stuff. Like, going through stuff. I went through some stuff at 15, like some grown-up stuff. It wasn't even caused by me, but it was just around me, and it was with the people closest to me. So it's like, you never know when something's gonna happen to a kid.
Those are the individuals that are closest to you, the individuals that you trust. Those are the ones that can cause many times the most damage. Right. And so because others, you really don't care. A lot of times you don't really care what they think or say. And so, but the people that you do care about what they think and what they say, and what they do, and what they do impacts you as a young age. And we learn about those type relationships as we're growing up. Right? We learn about those type of relationships as we're growing up. So what we sought to do, and what I've known others that sought to do, is to give your children coping skills. Give them a comeback in certain situations. If there's certain values that you're imparting into them, be aware of where they are. Be aware of and be observant. Sometimes as parents, we need to not speak as much, but be more observant.
Watch your kids, bro. But even, okay, let's go in. We're going into an adulthood, right?
Going into adulthood. All right.
You got to be able to know what's going on with yourself. All right. So we talking about self-care today, right? We're talking about, we are, right? Are we? It all ties together because I said self-care. Are you taking care of you? Now, my point was, sometimes people get so used to catering to the conversations of other people and catering to other people in general, people pleasing, whatever. They just get so lost and caught up in the world of others, they forget to check in with themselves. And
people pleasing or just being maybe they are nurturers, or they care for for other people, and it gets unbalanced.
Care for other people and get some balance. Also, on the other end of it, sometimes you start living a routine and your life gets redundant and you're doing the same thing every day, and it's almost like you're just an outsider watching your body do things, and we
have to be intentional in actually living life and not just walking through life, not just existing.
Live life. Don't walk through life.
Yeah.
Live your paso.
Yeah, because we can exist, we can be functional, but we want to be more than functional. We want to be actively alive.
Okay, be actively alive, or you dead. No, you're not dead. I mean, you don't want to be alive and feel dead though, because it can feel like that if you don't know what's going on with yourself and you haven't checked in so long. It's almost like.
So what are some of the things we can do when we feel our energy being zapped, or when we feel that we're a little bit off-centered?
So, of course, I looked up self-care.
Oh, all right.
And Lexi said those kids on the show are going through way too much trauma. And then Taylor said, I'm definitely going to look it up because, I've definitely seen some stories from Degrassi play out in real life. But, of course, I looked up self-care, right? And it said practicing self-care does not mean you are choosing yourself over your loved ones. It means that you are simply being mindful of your own needs, so you are better able to support the people you care about. When you take care of yourself and are not stressed, you are better able to meet the needs of others. So just like the Bible says, you cannot help anyone else if you can't help yourself. You cannot. God doesn't want you to be using all your good stuff, all your light, all the good juice he gave you on everybody else, but you are an empty tank. You know what I'm saying? You got to refuel. You have to refuel.
Well, we're supposed to replenish, right? We're supposed to go on those retreats and replenish, and whatever that means to you. It may be curling up with a good book, uninterrupted for an hour or two.
Turn your phone off.
For an hour or 2 hours.
Turn your phone off for an hour or 2 hours. It will change your life sometimes. Unplug. Because I mean, I definitely, like one thing I read is that while you're supporting and helping someone else, you may be in crisis. It is especially important for you to also take care of yourself. Practicing self-care does not mean you are choosing others.
Right.
I mean, you have to really just know, hey, like, it's cool for me to be supporting everybody else and be a good friend and daughter, you know, niece, whatever your position is in life.
Right.
It's great for you to be a
Cousin.
good one, cousin, whatever. But what good are you to someone else if you are not even really there? You're just going through the motions.
And what happens is when we care for others, we want to do it with a joyful heart. And
Not out
when
of
we're starting to
obligation.
get worn down, then that can wane a little bit, even though we're doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Right? And the Bible shares with us actually to love God, love ourselves, and then love others as we love ourselves. And so we need, God tells us to love ourselves, take care of ourselves, right? So that we can be great ambassadors. We can be those evangelists. We can use our gifts to the fullest, right? To make this world a better place.
Right.
And in order to do that, we need to be vibrant, right? We need to be able to be our best self.
Got to be a
And
light.
in order to do that, and to be a bright light, right? And in order to do that, we need to
Get some batteries.
have balance and take care of ourselves and take our pulse. So take yourself pulse sometimes.
Take your post. Take your post and get some batteries, honey, because you can't do it all in yourself. Lexi said, I think the most important part of self-care is boundaries. Boundaries with kids, boundaries with work, and boundaries with friends. And that's real. Just learn how to say no. School Taylor said, he said,
Oh my, is this something that we can read? We operate in love, grace, and mercy.
Basically, he said he copes. He finds ways to cope when he's slipping on his self care. Y'all
Oh,
can
my
read the comments later.
Is-
But
Is Soleil still there?
she probably is there watching.
Uh-huh.
Drop a
Drop us a
smiley face
comment.
or emoji if you feel like talking about how you take care of yourself.
Or
But-
call in, Soleil.
I mean, I definitely have had this conversation with some friends this week because, you know, sometimes life does get you into a routine to where you feel like you're just going through the motions and like it starts affecting the way you treat people. You know what I'm saying? It starts affecting the way you feel. And reading the effects, it makes sense because it's almost like I said, you're not yourself. You're not in your body. You're just kind of.
But this is not the regular, because life does have routines. You know,
Yeah.
there are routines that we go through. But we get to a point where there needs to be, our joy starts waning, right?
Yeah.
And we're not our best self.
You're not
we
happy.
We find ourselves getting irritated quickly.
Quick.
More, quicker than usual. We find for me, well, let me just put in general, your peace. You know, you find that your peace is starting to kind of shift a little bit. Even you may not be sleeping as well. That type of thing.
These are actually the list you naming some things that these are signs of things that can happen from you not taking care of yourself and checking in with yourself. You can feel anxious, full of worry, unable to concentrate, sick or achy, sad, and generally unhappy, overwhelmed and constantly worried, irritable, short-tempered, tired often, lonely or alone. You can't remember things. You're not relaxing. Getting to work, you're not getting work done. You're not really focused, and you're not making good decisions.
Right. And you cannot make good decisions. Has been my experience in also just living this life with others as well, that when you're feeling overwhelmed is not the time to make critical decisions. That's when you need to step back and ask for help. To be able to find a way to get some time, and rediscover what gives you joy, what makes you happy. When you think about it or when you do it, what actually gives you joy? Ivana, do you know one of the things that really gives me joy?
Yo, kids.
Oh, yes. But other than my kids.
your time to yourself watching a classic black and white movie with some popcorn and chocolate and caramel.
I do enjoy that. However,
So
one of the
specific.
things that I really enjoy, what really helps me to get back centered, is to be on a mountaintop. I enjoy being not just in the mountains, but finding a peak and sitting there, being able to just observe the beauty and the awesomeness and of God. And when I'm in that space, in that quiet, and I can hear the leaves rustling,
Yes, leaves
Right.
rustling. Okay.
and I can hear the birds chirping,
Okay, birds.
and it really gives me, I feel reconnected
Peace.
to all that is.
All that is.
To all that is.
Oh, that was the end of the sentence. Okay. Okay. I was like, not a hello? Hello? Is it on? You feel connected to all that is.
Yes.
I feel that. Okay, I'm your daughter or whatever. I love being outside on the mountain now.
Mhm.
I will climb that mountain and just sit up there and look
Mhm.
at everything because it's amazing.
And you know,
And you gotta think, okay, it's not just me in this world. It's not just about me, but also this thing is. I need to appreciate this life because it's beautiful and I'm living it. And you just gotta shake yourself out sometimes.
and sometimes, you know, even just sitting by a creek or hearing the water run, water is very relaxing, right? Water is very relaxing. And some people, for their time, may be just to be able to go and get a pedicure, get a massage.
do stuff for you.
Right.
Like one of my friends, Jay, she would say one time, she said, okay. I said, I'm having a me day or whatever, self-care day. And then she's like, okay, so what are you doing? And I was naming all these things. And she was like, all those things have to do with other people. What are you doing for yourself today?
Mm.
I was like, ooh, girl, don't call me out now.
Yes.
And then I was like, you know what? Okay, yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to do something just me, by
Just for-
myself,
mhm.
just for myself. Because, you know, I really love service. Like, I really love genuinely helping other people
Right,
and, like, being
right.
there and doing what I can for people that cannot do it. Like, it gives me actual joy to
Right.
be able to help someone. Like, I have a friend, and he helped one of my friends one time. He didn't even know him. And then I was like, oh my God, thank you so much for helping him. Like, he like gave him a ride. And he was like, no, it genuinely made me happy to be able to help someone else. And I was like, wow. Like, whatever you find that gives you joy,
But then, Ivana, you just said something.
what?
Also, it's some people, it may be doing it. There are different points in our lives and different stages where the self-care may take different forms. And I think we just shared that. It may be where you're doing something just for yourself. It may also be where you go and you do service and you do something for someone else.
Mm-hmm. Say
It
that.
may be where you're serving meals to the homeless, or you make sandwiches and you go and you give those sandwiches out. And then when you get back in your car, you say, Lord, thank you that I am able to do this. And it helps you, it brings you joy. And so that may be a form of self-care as well. And so there, it's not just one size fits all.
Yeah.
It's a very personal thing. And so that's why we have to go within ourselves, be self-critical in a way of ourselves, in that we actually look at ourselves and speak to ourselves and say, what is it that you miss doing that actually brought you joy,
What
that you
makes
don't
me
do
happy?
anymore?
What makes me
What
happy?
is it that you love doing for others that maybe you don't do anymore? And so maybe to find time for those things. And I mean find time, meaning that you put it on your calendar,
Pencil
and-
yourself in.
and it is an appointment that you cannot break.
Yeah, you can't. You got gonna break an appointment on yourself.
And
A lot
so-
of us cancel the time with ourselves before we cancel time with others, and that's when you have to really balance and just learn to say no.
Right.
Learn to say no.
And you balance. And this is maybe not something, some people try to do this every week. Some people do it once a month. Some people may do it once every 6 months. Like I said, one size does not fit all. And it really depends on where you are in life and what you are going through, which will determine what type of self-care you will probably move forward in.
And Lexi said, I love the outdoors as well because, I mean, that fresh air, man, it really does something to you. I still have to this day pretty much. It might not always be on this day, but I used to have me Mondays, and I would just kind of disappear for a day, and I would either go climb the mountain, go work out somewhere, or go just do something no one else knew about and just chill out. And if I talked to somebody, I would just talk to that person, or I would talk to nobody. But it was me Monday, and I had to tell everybody, like, don't be offended if you don't hear from me today because you already know what day it is. I need to unplug and disconnect and reconnect with myself.
And so what we're saying, I believe, and we're almost out of time,
Yes.
is that, and you still wanted to do a couple of shout outs, I think, but is that it's okay. Give yourself permission to love yourself. And we're not saying out of balance, in a healthy way. And give yourself permission to take time for yourself. Take a good look at yourself. Take your own pulse, right? And then evaluate where you are and see what your particular needs are, right? And we haven't even gotten into in regard to relationship, in regard to singleness, in regard to the different stages of life. We're just hitting it in a generality because we find that it is important. It will help us not get so overwhelmed.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
No.
And it's good to do it before you get to that, I just can't take it anymore.
Somebody gotta go. It's not gonna be me. What's wrong with you? Put it down. Don't do it. No, seriously, you will literally have a mental break. And like,
yes. And so, did we have someone else you said that wanted to call in? This is the time.
Somebody had called earlier, but did anybody want to call before we head out and say a couple things? I think they were really dropping what they wanted to say in the comments.
All right. You can read those to me later. But
if
did
you
you
do
have
want to
some
call
shout-outs?
us 470-412-0917. That's 470-412-0917. Today I did a food blog, eating, tasting with Eat Moni after work today.
Oh, really? Where?
Yes,
Where was
we
this?
went to 10 Lizzie's down on Memorial Drive, and it was dope. We tried all the new tacos and all the new drinks, and just shout out to Eat Moni food blog.
I
Follow
tell
her
you,
Instagram,
she is awesome.
EAT_MONNIE.
Yes.
Eat Moni. EAT_MONNIE. She always has different giveaways. I've had some friends win some tickets to like food festivals and stuff.
Yes.
Because food bloggers in Atlanta, they do get a lot of new things.
Follow her.
Follow her. You get to
She
enter some
likes
giveaways.
good food.
Okay. Okay. Scoop Taylor said once a week I go bowling. Usually I'm alone when I go.
Okay.
And that's his thing. And that's really
I used
like
to do that too at times.
right.
Mhm.
Like I really like need people to understand that you really got to just look at yourself and say, what makes me happy? What
And
do
be-
I like
and be
that I don't mind
creative.
doing by myself? I love karaoke.
Mhm.
I literally went the other day by myself to karaoke. Nobody wanted to go, and I went and I sat and I didn't even sing. I was just chilling.
Right.
I like seeing people sing.
right.
I like being able to sing to myself. And sometimes I will sing, sometimes I won't. But I just love
Right.
music.
Right.
And seeing people also love music and laugh and have that time makes me happy.
And you know what also, dear? Be creative. I would tell people also, be creative. And sometimes try something new. Try something new.
You
that
can't
will-
just go to the bar and a club every day. Go paint a picture. Go climb a rock wall. Go throw an axe. Go do something different. Atlanta is full of a whole bunch of
broaden your horizons.
and alcohol is a depressant. And if you do that every week, you're not going to get happier. But I always find some time to do something else. Play some games.
Yes.
I am the queen of buying some random games off Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay, I got so many games in my vault. But it's just about self-care. It's about just knowing that it's about making time for yourself to do something that you enjoy, refueling your tank, and putting some
Yes.
batteries in yourself. And sometimes
Right.
those batteries come from God. A lot of your help cometh from the Lord. Okay.
But you know what? Also, when on that point, Ivana, let me just say that in our faith, we believe that we have an infilling of the Holy Spirit. But then it's not just one, it's multiple refillings. There is a refreshing. And so if we need a refreshing in the spiritual realm, Well, how much more, right? In this physical realm as well, right? So we take care of ourselves in our mind, body, and spirit. We look
Spirit.
at the whole
Nurture
person,
your spirit,
right?
boy.
The whole person. And as the whole person, a whole being, go be your marvelous self.
Okay, Lexi said, I
Yes.
feel like I overindulge in self-care. I might love myself too much.
Well,
Hey, girl.
only you know that. And if that's the case, then, you can reevaluate. And I would say go and do something and bless somebody and add a smile to their heart.
Okay, because we are definitely gonna have some community outreach opportunities in
Yes.
this coming year.
Yes.
And we do like to go and talk to the homeless and give back to the
Yes,
community. And like I
yes.
said, I genuinely enjoy stuff like that because
Mhm.
other people don't have the same, opportunities and the same,
Or they're not
niceties in
aware.
life, or they just,
Mhm.
not aware. Whatever the circumstance may be, everyone has different
Circumstances happen, life happens, right? And it's up to all of us to do our part to make this world,
A better place.
hey, it's not a
And
cliche,
it's
it is
real.
the way.
And I promise you, if you do something for somebody else, it really does make you feel better. And not just like your friends, like a stranger. Like, I just try to do something nice for a stranger every day. Like,
And
every
so-
day. And you don't have to talk about it. You don't have to tell anybody about it. You don't have to post it.
That's
just
right.
do it. And, like,
Say that. You don't have to post it.
you don't got to post it. You
Okay.
don't know who's doing what. Move in silence. You don't know who's doing what. But I promise you, your privacy, your happiness, your peace of mind,
Yes.
it's worth
Yes.
that feeling of self-care. It's
Yes.
worth rebooting yourself. It's worth
Yes.
not going off on everybody because
That's
you
right.
mad. And
That's
you don't even
right.
know why you mad. You just don't
That's
feel
right.
good.
And you make other people miserable around you. Go take a break.
Go
Okay.
go take a walk, Sean.
But you know what, Ivana? It's that time.
So long, farewell to you, my friend. Goodbye. Y'all tune in again to the Royal Ladies of Truth show. I will be posting when our next episode is. My schedule has become very unpredictable, but we're still trying to do every 2 weeks,
That's
2 weeks
right.
on a
That's
Wednesday.
right. That's right.
And I will post on Instagram, and you guys can watch our episodes after they air on our YouTube page, which is
Right.
in the link tree. It's under Royal Ladies of Truth YouTube page. That is
Right.
where all the episodes go to live after the
Right.
show. So if you guys want to catch up on what we've talked about, whether it be
Right.
relationships, love, being in toxic relationships,
Mm-hmm.
soul ties, you can catch up on our YouTube page and on our Instagram. It will
Right.
take you to those links.
And you weren't able to put it out there when we broadcast a couple of weeks ago, but I was holding it down
Yes,
for
Miss
us.
Elaine was holding it down. She did a
And we did
whole
a summary.
show by herself.
Let's did a summarizing and brought in some of the points that some of our guests had shared as well.
As Scoob said, Ivana and I went to karaoke one year, and they didn't let her stop singing. Good times. I love karaoke,
All right,
boy.
it's that time.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for joining the Royal Ladies
Yes.
of Truth. We know that with God, all things are possible. And we are
Yes.
fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yes.
And we are living our possible.
Go
Okay?
live your possible.
Live your
people.
possible.
Yes.
Take time for yourself. Love yourself.
Yes.
Self-care. Check in with you and take care of you before you try to take care of the world. Honey.
Hey.
It's important. We want to thank Seven Springs Studios
Yes.
for your time and attention like always.
Exactly.
You're great. You're amazing.
Yes, they are.
I am for real. The Jacksons. We appreciate y'all.
Yes.
And tune in again. Royal Ladies of Truth.
Royal Ladies
Anything
of
else
Truth.
to say, Miss LA?
God bless you. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.